question for you tonight. Who here has a perfect life? Yes? Good. Anybody else? Is there only one among us that has a perfect life? Does anybody feel that their body isn't quite perfect? There may be something wrong with your body? Anybody feel that maybe your family isn't quite perfect? Or do you have the perfect family? If you're married, is your spouse perfect? Is your church even perfect? Oh, what about the world? At least the world must be perfect, isn't it? What about the government? We have a new prime minister. He's only been in about 10 days now. Is he doing a perfect job? What about in another country? If we went down south or some other place, would we find a perfect government there? So what's perfect on this earth? God's perfect, that's right. But what besides God is perfect? Am I perfect? Are you perfect? No, there's nothing perfect, is there? So tonight we're going to talk about a new heaven and a new earth. Now, if your life is perfect, you might say, why would we even need a new earth? What's wrong with this one? But for those of us who are life and family and church and body is not perfect, we can give you all kinds of reasons why we need a new earth and what's wrong with this one. Can anybody tell me what's wrong with this world or with your body or with your family or with society in general? It's deteriorating, so it's getting worse, is it? Even in your short life, you see that it's getting worse? Okay. He's just a young lad, and he says it's getting worse. Anybody else have an idea what's wrong? There's sin? Yes. Just had an earthquake someplace? Okay. Okay. And what about people? Do they treat each other perfectly on earth? No. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of hate and violence and injustice, wars, famines, a lot of pain and suffering. So tonight we're going to answer 5 questions about the new heaven and the new earth, and we're going to find them in Revelation chapter 21. So if your life is not quite perfect and you wish that it was better, I'm happy to tell you that there is a new earth and a new heaven coming, and Revelation 21 tells us a great deal about what it is going to be like in the new heaven and the new earth. Let's read in Revelation 21 and verse number 1, and then I'll ask the first question that we're going to answer. Revelation 21, verse 1. And I saw, what did he see? A new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. So let's start with the earth that we live on. How many of you have lived in this place all of your life? Anybody? Few? How many have lived in more than 2 places? Yeah? Good. So some of you have explored quite a bit of the earth. You've lived in more than 2 or 3 places in your life. So you know a lot about different parts of the earth. Maybe you've even visited different parts of the earth. First question. Will this earth last forever? Can anybody tell me some nice things about this earth? Is there a place you like to visit, or some place that you think is pretty, or that you've been and you remember? Where's a nice place? Well, good. This is a nice place, isn't it? Yeah. You can walk all around the streets and see nice people and see the river, and people are friendly. Yeah, good. Who else likes a place on earth? The Grand Canyon down in Arizona, and that area, it's beautiful, yeah. The ocean's beautiful, the beaches, yes. The Reversing Falls, they're beautiful. And Niagara Falls up in Ontario, if you've ever seen them. Yeah, the Rockies out west, the Amazon down in Brazil. Beautiful, beautiful places around the earth. We talk about the 7 wonders of the world. Lots of great places. So will it last forever? Will you be able to visit these places in 100 years, in 1,000 years, in 1,000,000,000 years? Will those places always be here? Every mountain, river, tree, ocean, beach, will they always be here just like they are? Will your house always be where it is? And will the tree in your yard always be there? Will your kids always be able to play on the rock and whatever else you might have in your yard? No. No. What does Revelation 21 verse 1 say? This earth and this heaven are going to what? Pass away. Anybody ever have a loved one or a friend pass away? Yeah, it means they're not here anymore, right? The actual word here is to perish. The earth itself is going to perish. It's going to pass away. And Jesus agreed with that. Let's look in Matthew 24, if you don't mind. Would somebody like to read Matthew 24 and verse number 35? Good. We had it in stereo there. Thank you very much. Double emphasis. No, that's good. Heaven and earth shall pass away, Jesus said. So will the earth be destroyed? Yes, it will. Second question. How will the earth be destroyed? Fire. That's right. Let's go over to 2 Peter. 2 Peter. Would somebody like to read in 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse number 7, please? 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse number 7. Is there anything on the earth that's flammable? Quite a bit, huh? Yeah, at a certain temperature, the whole thing would melt. All the minerals and all the trees, even the rocks, everything will just be melted down. And in fact, if you're in 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 10 says, "The day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with a fervent heat, and the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up." So will the earth be destroyed? Yes. How will it be destroyed? Fire. When will it be destroyed? I mean, sometimes scientists say that we have very little time left. Maybe in your lifetime, the earth might be destroyed. When will it be destroyed? Any ideas? What's that? After the tribulation. So how long is the tribulation? 7 years. So we got at least 7 years. And then there's a 1,000-year kingdom of Christ on the earth. So how much is that? That's 1,007 years. So the earth can't be burned up in 20 years, can it? Or 100 years. Or even 500 years from now. Because if Jesus returns today, the tribulation starts, the millennial kingdom comes, and there's 1,007 years worth of prophecy to be unfolded at least. And who knows, maybe there's more, because maybe Jesus isn't going to come back for another 1,000 years. You say, no, it's closer than that. I don't know the day or the hour when he's coming back. But if he doesn't come back for another 1,000 years, then you got another 1,007 years on that before the earth's destroyed. So when they say the earth's going to be burned up here in a matter of a few months, they don't know what they're talking about. The earth's going to be here for at least 1,000 more years. But it is going to be destroyed, and it's going to be destroyed by fire. Okay, next question. Why will the earth be destroyed? Why would God destroy the earth? Sin. That's right. Why did he destroy it the first time when Noah was here? Sin, that's right. Genesis 6 says imagination of man's heart was only evil continually. And it repented God that he had even made man, because his sin was so great on the earth. And it's not much different today, is it? It says, as it was in the days of Noah, so it shall be at the coming of the Son of Man. Sin has corrupted and polluted the earth, and the earth is cursed. God told Adam, in the day that you eat thereof, you will die, and this earth will be cursed. And it has been. Last question. I have 5 of them. Where will we live when the earth's destroyed? Yeah, it says here in Revelation 21, where we started, there's coming a new heaven and a new earth. So what will that be like? Let's go through Revelation 21. We have found out that the earth will be destroyed. It's going to be destroyed by fire. It's going to be destroyed in at least 1,000 years. It'll be destroyed because it's cursed. And where will we live, or what will it be like? Well, let's read in Revelation 21, verse 4. Revelation 21, verse 4. God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. So there'll be no more tears, no more crying or sorrow. And verse 4 will tell you 2 things that people cry about the most. What are those? What does it say in verse 4? What are the 2 main reasons people cry? Death and pain. You see that? There'll be no more death, sorrow, crying, neither shall there be any more pain. I think probably death and pain are 2 of the main reasons people cry. The loss of a loved one, and pain in your body or in your family or in your mind or your heart. And so if you have any pain today, you're going to go, if you believe in Jesus and trust him, you're going to go to a place where there's no reason to cry. So there'll be no funeral homes there. There'll be no hospitals. There'll be no pharmacists. There'll be no medication, because there'll be no pain. And there'll be no loss. Furthermore, in verse number 5, it says everything's going to be new. He that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. That means a better and higher quality than what it is right now. Everything's going to be better. So you could think, for example, about the way that you feel. That's going to be new or better. The way that you look, although you may be pretty or handsome, you're going to look better. That's going to be new. Maybe the way we communicate will be new. Right now I have to talk to you, or at least do some action so that you get what I mean. And even then, you don't even understand half the time. So maybe the way that we communicate there is going to be all new. Who knows? Maybe you're just going to be able to know what I'm thinking. Wouldn't that be frightful? Just walk around and know what everybody thinks. How about the way I remember things? What if that's new? Like right now, I write everything down mostly. I got sticky notes all over the office in there, because I got to remember to call Hubert, and I got to remember to do this for Lisa, and I got to remember to return Dana's hedge trimmer. I got all this stuff written down in there. But maybe I'll just remember everything there. And I'll just have a perfect mind, and I won't have to forget anything. What about the way that I plan? That might be completely new. Right now I plan like in half days and weekends and a few weeks. I don't stretch it out much more than, what's going to happen here in April. I don't know what's going to happen in September or next August. I've got a few things planned for April. What if in heaven there's no time for one thing, but it's eternal? So what if I say, I'll talk to you again in 1,008 years? Like, it's just the whole way that we plan will be completely different. Instead of planning for next week and next year and not even knowing if I'll be here next year, I'll be able to plan for 1,000,000 years from now and know that I'll be here. Our neighbors will be new because they're going to be angels and saints and prophets. The government's going to be new because it's going to be Jesus and God the Father. Even my access to God is going to be new, isn't it? Because right now I have to pray to Him. There I'll just supposedly be able to walk into the throne room and say, Father, do you have a few minutes? And He'll say, take the whole afternoon. And I'll just be able to sit there and talk to Him. And I won't have to imagine what it must be like or try to feel what maybe His presence is like. I'll know His presence. There'll be no curse. There'll be no sweat of the brow. There'll be no droughts, no destructive weather patterns, no earthquakes, no sin, no sea, no temple, no snakes, no violent beasts, no war, no injustice, no sinners, no murderers. It'll be all new. It's a new heaven and a new earth, and it'll be fundamentally different. It'll be so different than 1 Corinthians 2:9 says, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither is entered into the minds of men, the things that God has prepared for those who love Him. We can't even begin to imagine. The only way to describe it is that it's indescribable. There is no way to describe it. It's all new. So whatever you're used to, getting up, brushing your teeth, pouring some cereal, putting in the toast, having a half a melon, getting a little bit of juice, changing your clothes, getting washed up, going out to the day, going to the office, fixing up the car, mowing the lawn, shoveling the driveway, whatever it is that your day is like, it's all going to be new. And you can't even imagine how much more wonderful it's going to be. It's a new heaven and a new earth. It will be paradise. It will be perfect. It will be eternal joy. And then I wanted to point out a couple of other things about the New Jerusalem. Because specifically, I think we're going to live in the New Jerusalem. There's a whole new earth, but on that earth will be a New Jerusalem. And if you're in Revelation 21, it says in verse 10 that it's a great city. He carried me away in the Spirit to a great and high mountain to show me a great city, the holy Jerusalem descending out of heaven from God. So what's that new city going to be like where we're going to live? We're not going to live in Miramichi or New York or Paris. We're going to live in Jerusalem, the New Jerusalem. And according to verse 11, it has the glory of God. That would be that Shekinah glory of God that was in the Holy of Holies that only the high priest could see once a year. That brilliance is going to light up the whole New Jerusalem. There's not even going to be the need for the sun or the moon. God's glory is going to brighten the whole place. There'll be no night there. And it's going to be beautiful according to verse 11 because there's going to be the glory of God, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal. So it's going to be like made of diamonds, this clear, beautiful stone. Now, 100 years ago when I got married, because I'm really old, I gave my wife 1/3 of a carat of a diamond. That's all I could afford. And 30 years later, I can't even afford that. So I'm glad I bought it when I did. Just 1/3 of a carat of a diamond. And that New Jerusalem is going to be made out of diamonds. It's going to be so beautiful. And it's going to be huge. Look in verse 12. Had a wall great and high, and 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and the names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes, and on the east 3 gates, and on the north 3 gates, and on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the name of the 12 apostles and of the Lamb. Now he's going to measure the city in verse 15, And in verse 16, he says it's square. The length is as large as the breadth, and the measure of the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs. And the length and the breadth and the height are all equal. So whether it's a cube, length, width, height all equal, or a triangle, length, width, height all equal, or even a sphere, a circle, length, width, and height all equal. Don't know the exact shape of it, but we know the size. It's 12,000 furlongs. And we don't measure in furlongs anymore. We measure in either feet, yards, meters, centimeters. Anybody know what a furlong is? Measure. What is it, did you say? Right, 600 feet. Oh, that's quite a bit. 12,000 of those, 12,000 furlongs. It's 600 feet. Anybody know how many feet in a mile? 5,280, something like that. So 600 of that is like an eighth of a mile. Okay, so I need your math here for a minute. So I'm not very good at math. An eighth of a mile is a furlong, 600 feet. We got 12,000 of those. So I did the calculation. That's 1,500 miles or 2,400 kilometers. Width, height, depth, all the same. 1,500 miles or 2,400 kilometers. Now, I did some calculation, Patsy, because I know you like Cocoa Beach, Florida. And I measured, and it's exactly, where'd you live down there, Patsy? Yeah, what was the address? Right, Banana River Boulevard. I typed that in, and it's 2,400 kilometers from Miramichi to South Banana Boulevard in Cocoa Beach. So if you've been to Florida, on the east side of Florida, Cocoa Beach, about halfway between Jacksonville and Miami. That's where Patsy used to live, at least this time of the year. And from here to there is about 2,400 kilometers or 1,500 miles. Now, I went west, and I got as far as Las Vegas. Anybody know where Las Vegas is? From Cocoa Beach, where Patsy used to live, to Las Vegas is about 2,400 kilometers. And then you go north to Winnipeg. It's from Las Vegas to Winnipeg is about 2,400 kilometers. Yeah, it is. It's like 2,180 or something. It's just a little shy of 24, but it's close enough. And then from Winnipeg to here, it's 2,400 kilometers as the crow flies, like in a cube, in a square. So if you want an idea of how big the New Jerusalem is, you think about where Cocoa Beach is, where Las Vegas is, where Winnipeg is. That whole area from here to there is what the area that we're talking about. And remember, it's that high, too. So I did some more calculating, and I figured, let's say that there were levels. I don't know if there's levels. Maybe we all just live on one area that size, and it just goes up forever. But if there were levels, if every level was 10 feet, I don't know how big the level would be. I'm just guessing. But how many levels do you think that building could have? Do you understand an area the size of basically the size of the U.S.? How many levels could you stack on top of that? At 10 feet a level? 800,000. So a building, you potentially could have a building the size of the United States with 800,000 levels. So then I calculated, well, how big is the Earth? How much area is there on the Earth? And I calculated that you could fit 31,000 Earths in that amount of space. That's how much land mass you could have in a building the size of the U.S. that had 800,000 levels. You could fit the land mass of 31,000 Earths in there. In other words, it's a big place. And there's enough room for you. And there's enough room for all the people that you know. And all they need to do is trust the gospel. And they can go and live in this beautiful city. And that's just the city. Remember, there's the earth, And one would think the new heavens means new planets, new moons, new suns, who knows what. New places to visit. And that's not just something we tell ourselves to make ourselves feel good about death and the future. It's written right here in the Holy Bible. Now, not all of those details. Those are kind of guessing a little bit about the actual size within the city. But the city is there in the new heaven and the new earth, and it will be the home of all those who believe in the good news of Jesus Christ. This is just one of the many gifts that he makes available to all of his children. And you can keep reading there in Revelation 21 and 22 and see the pearly gates, the streets of gold, the crystal river, and so many other wonderful things about the New Jerusalem. So if your life isn't quite perfect, and I'm not sure anybody's is, in fact, I know it's not, then maybe you want to spend some time thinking about the world to come. They said, you mean I have to wait 1,007 years before I get to a perfect world? Well, not really, because if you happen to pass away in the near future, you're going to go to heaven, which is just as equally beautiful. And you're going to be in heaven and with the Lord Jesus, which is the most important of all. Of all of these things we've said, it's going to be great just to be with the Lord. Any questions or comments about the new heaven and the new earth? Yes. I don't know. It's a fine question. Do we get to go fishing in heaven? I would think that there are animals there because animals are an important part of God's creation here. And we know that we come on white horses, and so why wouldn't there be other animals? We know there's a crystal river, so one would think that there would be fish. We know there'll be no death, though, so it'll be catch and release. Yeah. Any other questions? Did you have a question, Chris? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's right. I like pastors often get asked, will we know people in heaven? And I heard Dr. Wendell Calder answer that question one time, and I always liked his answer. Somebody said, Pastor Calder, will we know people in heaven? And he said something to the effect, well, do you think we're going to be dumber up there? Like, of course we're going to know people. We're going to be smarter. We'll know everybody. Anyway. All right, let's pray. Thank you, God, for giving us something to look forward to, and we know that this world can be really draining, and it can really be upsetting and discouraging. So thank you that we have a new place to look forward to, and thank you that you have made the way possible through Jesus Christ. If we are attached to him and trust in him, he's going to take us there, and we're really looking forward to it. Save our friends and family.